Have you ever considered what it's like to immerse yourself in a sound bath? Well, today I have you covered. Join me as I invite a special guest to dive into the unique experience of a sound bath and spill all the details on the Afterbath. Welcome to the Afterbath, where we explore unique experiences and wellness practices. I'm your host, Matt. Today we have a special episode where we'll be diving into the world of sound baths. If you've ever wondered what it's like to be immersed in soothing sound waves, you're in for a treat. Today, Shell steps into a sixth and final sound bath session, the pinnacle of her healing journey. Feel the power of her resolve as she rises above exhaustion, embracing the profound shift towards acceptance and peace through the vibrations of sound. Now that her journey is complete, Shell reflects on the insight she's gained and the wisdom that she'll carry forward. Will the serenity last, or will the waves of exhaustion return? Join us for this mesmerizing tale of inner peace, resilience, and the search for lasting calm. Hey Shell, welcome back. So this is your sixth sound bath, your final sound bath.
We got there.
Hooray! So, how you feeling?
I am exhausted. I'm so glad that we're doing a sound bath today because I really need it. I am exhausted.
Got it.
So I
Yeah.
was looking forward to today
Yeah.
to get some deep relaxation.
Great. Yeah. Do you think something's opened up for you? Have you come to maybe a realization or something? I'm just wondering, where the tiredness is coming from.
That is a long story.
Yeah, okay.
It's not just a story that we had. We had a little conversation before we went on air.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into that, but
No.
I was doing some journaling this morning and I realised that I've actually been exhausted all year.
Yeah.
There have been some pretty heavy personal things that have accumulated.
Yep.
All mental concerns with losing people, grief, worry over loved ones' health conditions, diagnosis of really bad illnesses of people I love,
Yeah.
misunderstandings and betrayals by friends, loss, and grief over that. And then that's amongst normal everyday life that we have to keep pace with.
Yeah.
And the things that happen at home and at work. But that accumulation of the bigger things and loss after loss after loss.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be death per se, but a loss of and impending losses as well, and worry. Yeah, I journaled about it this morning and I realised when I stack all these things up one on top of the other, and it's concentrated over, say, about 8 months.
Yeah.
I think that's what's exhausted me.
Yep. Do you think you could reframe the word loss? You don't have to do it now. You could reframe it after the sound bath and see if something comes to you.
Well, I already know what that is.
Okay.
Have thought about this a lot during the year and through journaling. It's transition time for me.
Got it.
Shifting sands, pulling out of rugs.
Yeah.
A lot of pulling out of rugs.
Yeah.
there's been a clearing,
Mm.
a declutter out of my life. It's not just a house thing of getting rid of objects, which I'm really good at doing now,
Yeah.
but a decluttering of people.
Mm.
I say that kindly, not unkindly.
Yeah.
Decluttering can sound very throwaway.
Yeah.
I don't mean it like that. It's actually a loss.
Yeah.
But things change.
They do.
People you think will be in your life forever, they just won't be.
Yeah.
They just won't be.
Yep. That's true. That's true.
So, yeah, it's transition time, and there is loss that goes around those transitions.
Mm.
And maybe my exhaustion is coming from a grief that I haven't processed about all of that yet. Maybe there hasn't quite been enough time or space to do that.
Yes.
So it'd be really, really good to have a sound bath.
Yes, absolutely. So you could digest some of that, process some of that.
I'm going to use a different word.
Okay, what's the word?
You know, I'm particular about words
Yeah.
because it helps. It really helps to be accurate about the experience, and grief is not something to digest. Yeah. It's not something I want in my stomach.
Sure, absolutely.
And I don't think it's what the sound bath does either. It's a very different type of process.
Yeah.
I know I've used this phrase before, melting. Just things just melt, and they or evaporate.
Yeah.
Might be a better description of what happens to thoughts and feelings, traumas, processes, habits during a sound bath is that they evaporate. So they change their form, they become lighter, and then they just go away without effort. We've talked about this being the cheats version to meditation.
Yeah.
So is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that that's what will happen in the sound bath. It's just whatever's sitting in there doesn't need digesting. It will just evaporate. But maybe that's wishful thinking in this case.
Well, there's only really one way to find out,
Jump
isn't
in the
there?
bath.
Yeah, jump in the bath. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so number 6 and final one. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Final one.
Yeah.
Final one in the protocol.
Yeah.
What your listeners may or may not be aware of, that we broke the sequence.
We did. Yeah. So we took a little break, didn't we? Yeah. It was about 2 weeks, wasn't it?
Or has it been 3?
Wow. 3 weeks. Could have been. Could have been.
We can check later.
Yeah. So due to illness on my behalf, and I think then there was a change of dates. It's just what we had to do.
Just scheduling.
Yeah. So it's good to do the final one. We made it. Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
Great.
Test bunny number 1 comes to the end.
Yeah. Fantastic. Do you think it's been worthwhile so far?
The whole process?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know I have to do a report, being the test bunny, somewhere down the track, report on the whole process. But at this point, what's been most beneficial is the insight into what's possible, the insight into states of being that are possible.
Yeah.
That it isn't just theory, text, otherworldly talk of different states of bliss that you could be in, or deep relaxation, or acute awakeness, awareness, joy, seeing life, plants clearly, being more aware of your senses and being able to use your senses much more acutely, of feeling in my body, being present, being truly engaged with people and with life, all those things that you hear about, wherever you hear about them, whether you hear them through religious practices or podcasts, or just those throwaway phrases of feeling enlightened or feeling in your body. Those sorts of things get thrown around all the time. But now that I've experienced some of those, really experienced some of those states, I know that they're real.
Yeah.
These are not states that just mystics, just, you know, the Jesuses or the Buddhas of the world, or the Lamas or the Jesus jumpers of the world experience. That it is possible for an ordinary person to feel these things and live in these states permanently if you practice. I don't know how much practice I'm going to need to keep it to be a consistent state, like exercising. But I now know through this process that this is a real thing.
Yeah.
It is possible, and it's such a nicer gear to live in.
Yeah.
Dad, I want more of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to answer your question, it's really been a worthwhile process.
That's great.
I'm also going to say frustrating.
For sure.
Not because the process is frustrating, but because now that I know what the higher level is of living, of being, of experience life, of how I could walk through life, it's like, how do I get me more of that?
Yeah.
It's like if someone's living a lower economic situation and they go into a really beautiful home and they go, oh, geez, people live like this?
Yeah.
And then you come away and you go, how do I get me some of that?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You're just smiling there going, yeah, I'm already there, Shell. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I was on the other side and now I just live in bliss all the time. And you're just laughing. I get you. This is like quiet. Yeah, I know what you mean, Shell. Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah. That is compassion, right? Yeah, that is compassion. So, I understand where you're at. Fully. Yeah, I fully understand where you're at. I've been there. So, I wouldn't be sharing it if I didn't think it was possible. Yeah. So, questions like this do arise, will I be able to maintain it? How do I get more of it? You've got every second of the day to practice it. And if you fail in the first second, don't worry, you've got another second after that. And if you fail in that second, that's okay, you've got another second after that. So you're always in this moment. You can always reconnect to it anytime. And it will be an adventure, like if it wasn't rough from time to time, to try and find the comparison in something that you're feeling unending will diminish. So it's a little bit like this. Don't you enjoy being warm? You would only know warmth through being cold. So you may not appreciate the cold as much as the warmth, but you will appreciate the warmth from being cool. So you may appreciate having a full tummy more than an empty tummy, but you'll only appreciate the full tummy when you have the empty tummy. So, yeah. So you'll enjoy the bliss for as long as it lasts, and then you may not appreciate the non-bliss as much as the bliss, but you'll appreciate the bliss when it comes back. And you can always tap into it. You can always tap into it.
It's harder for me than it is for you. I have tried tapping into, and it's not the bliss state that is the most enjoyable state of all of the states that I've been experienced over the 5 sessions.
Absolutely.
You want to have a guess which was my favourite?
Probably the clarity. Would that be right?
Getting close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Explain it a bit more.
It's the awakeness.
Yeah.
Which has that clarity component to it. It's that, but there was another one. It was the awakeness and the ease.
Yes.
Those were my favourites. And I would take those every day over the bliss.
Yes. For sure.
I can't explain to you exactly why.
Yeah, I guess for me, bliss is lovely when you've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
And when you got things that you would like to accomplish, clarity is better. Yeah.
Being awake, I know what it is. I know a little bit more about how to explain that. It's like having all my senses on at the same time. It's like having a house and trying to find my way around the house with only 2 lamps on.
Yes.
And you just think, well, hang on a minute. What if I just turn on all the lights at once?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's just going to quicken this task and I'll be able to see everything at once more clearly, and that's what feeling truly awake inside of myself is like. I've got all the lights on at once, but here's the really weird thing about it. It's not using any energy. Yeah.
It requires very little effort.
In fact, it's made me feel that I'm more energetic, which makes things easier.
Yeah.
Hence the ease.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So that's my favourite state.
Yeah.
Not the bliss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's yours?
Definitely that.
Same. Clarity.
Yeah.
Awakeness and ease.
Yeah. The bliss is lovely. But it's better. It's probably better when you got nothing to do. Or maybe when you're doing something creative. Yeah. And you don't need to be maybe as precise. You can be a little bit, relaxed in your methodology. There's times where I've been so blissed out that trying to play an instrument was a ridiculous endeavour, and I usually put it down. But it's not that I'm disappointed then, I can't play this instrument. I'm happy just to sit there blissed out as much as playing the instrument. It just means that I may not get the song written or recorded today.
What does your bliss feel like? I think this is important to explain, because one of the things that struck me when looking back at some of the podcasts where we talked about bliss was that I really don't, unless you've experienced what I felt, what you often feel through that sound bath experience. I'm sure others have felt bliss through other practices.
For sure.
Maybe even near-death experiences.
Yes.
It's not something that most people will have felt.
No, that's right.
I can't speak for everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
But I would say that's not a state that most people would have experienced even once in their life. To feel bliss is just not relatable. Even through explaining it as accurately as I've tried to, I don't think most people would have any frame of reference.
No.
Pleasure is a different thing from bliss.
Yeah.
Deep abandonment of worries to a deep point of relaxation, that too is different from that feeling of bliss I experienced.
Yeah.
Drugs feel, not that I really know, but what I've been told about certain drug states get close.
Yeah, they get very close.
But to have it happen naturally within the body, I imagine is different again. So, going back to you, what does bliss feel like when you're in that state naturally? Okay,
so from a physical, just bodily sensation, for me it feels like a bit of a tingly glow. So almost like butterflies, but no anxiety. Yeah. So you may feel a warmth, yet a coolness at the same time, but you may also then feel that temperature is of zero concern. Yep. Like if you were to fall into a cold pool, you'd be like, it's very cold.
I saw a picture, I think it was on YouTube, of this yogi,
yes,
this Indian yogi,
yeah,
up on some crazy mountain.
Yes.
And it looks like he's been there for years and he's turned into a statue.
Yeah.
And he's sitting on the precipice of some rock with this expansive view in front of him. He has his eyes shut. He's in that yoga pose. Yeah. And there's a snowstorm.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is covered in snow. The beard has turned into this giant icicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's serene.
Yeah. Yes.
Totally immune to the cold.
Yeah.
I do remember having a spiritual experience as a teenager in a church where I was prayed upon, where the church was really cold.
Yeah.
And after the prayers, temperature didn't matter. I actually felt warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yes.
Yeah. But that's a physical...
That's physical.
How did it feel in other ways? Can you describe how you felt?
So visually, things glow. Yeah, things glow. If I look at sun, the sun will sparkle even more intensely. Sometimes there can be it almost seems like out of the peripheral vision, there's almost like a blurriness or maybe even a darkness, so that the intensity of the stare becomes more focused towards the center. But it's not uncomfortable in any way. It's more like, it's almost like things look more dreamlike. More dreamlike, yeah. Sensations in the mouth can be amplified, so sometimes you can taste things with more clarity, you can smell things with more clarity, you can hear things with more clarity. It's simply like all the burden of the physical world is less irritating. Less irritating. The breath becomes very smooth, very much easier to breathe, and everything becomes of an interest. So you might look at something that normally might disgust you, and now it will be replaced by a curiosity. Yeah, a wonder.
And that's bliss. That's part of the bliss state.
Part of the bliss state. Part of my bliss state. Yeah. And it's also very solid in terms of I don't feel like I need to be happy. You know, because sometimes people go, I just want to be happy. Well, if you're in a very bad situation, it's going to be very difficult to maintain happiness. And that trying to maintain happiness will become a burden. So you could be in even a dire situation and go, I'm totally accepting of this situation. I can see it's not going to turn out the way I'd like it to turn out. And I'll have a very deep acceptance. Very deep acceptance. A very deep peace. I won't be avoiding. It's not avoiding or making myself disconnected from the situation. Not becoming numb. It's more that I'm seeing the situation in a more real sense, but I'm not attaching an outcome of what I would like to happen. It's like a very deep acceptance. Okay, this is going to turn out really bad. I don't have to be happy about it. And so I may even begin to feel quite overwhelmed, teary. But because the peace and the ease is there, the situation will be very manageable. Very manageable. It'll be like, okay, yeah, this is an awful situation, but it's manageable. Whereas before, I'd probably have a meltdown and probably maybe even on the verge of passing out. So to give you an example of something like that, I used to not be very good with the sight of my own blood. So if I got a big, deep cut, there's a good chance I'd look at it and I'd feel quite faint and I'd feel like I was about to faint. But in a bliss state, if I get a very deep cut, I'll be like, oh dear, look at this. Okay, I need to deal with this. I'm not going to faint. There will be a certain amount of curiosity as to the what's going on. And then I'll be able to manage my way through it. You know, whether I just need to put a Band-Aid on it or do I need to go see a doctor? Do I need to call an ambulance? Yeah. It's not like I would then go, okay, I can manage this so well that I'm going to now start operating on myself. But it's very manageable. It's very manageable. Give you an example of that. A couple of years back, I got stung by a bee while I was quite blissful. And normally, I would be in a bit of because I got stung on the forehead, and it was excruciatingly painful. Excruciating. And my forehead started to swell up, and normally I'd be like, oh dear, this could turn out very bad. I don't want to go into anaphylactic shock. I would probably start to panic. But this time around, it was more like, wow, this is really excruciatingly painful. And it was very manageable. Yeah, very manageable. I didn't go into any shock. There wasn't any, desire to run away from the experience. I mean, it would have been more pleasurable not to have the experience, that's for sure. But I wasn't suffering. It was more of a, wow, this is excruciatingly painful. What an experience.
It actually sounds like a drug state where you've got drugs in your body to mitigate take the edge off a very painful experience, and the body can still be going through the processes it needs to go through to manage the injury.
Correct.
And throwing out the signals to your body that it needs to throw out to alert you, hey, something's wrong here. But there's another presumably chemical system that's also operating that's saying, it's all right, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's just doing what it has to do.
Yeah.
To keep you safe, to keep you alive.
That's it.
But you're okay.
Yeah.
and I'm not going to let this affect your higher senses.
That's right.
So I'm sure that even though you're talking about something that sounds like it is a spiritual experience, that there's a very good medical, physiological, chemical process that is going on that is grounded in the body at the same time. Because that mind-body connection is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also, I wouldn't put myself in harm's way.
Some people do for the thrill of it, don't they?
Yeah, some people do, for sure. But it's not so that you become so oblivious to things that you seek excitement. I mean, you could, but, the reality of keeping myself safe and those around me safe as well, it's more like a very healthy respect of the physical world and the mischief that can arise while you're in the physical world. So I'll become very aware of other people's discomfort around me. And so if someone sees me in duress, if I've got a bee sting, my daughter was with me at the time, she was a bit concerned. So I was very mindful and respectful not to freak her out. Yeah. And keep her relaxed that, Dad's going to be okay. She's got a bee sting on the forehead. It's going to go down and everything is good.
It's interesting that you could have that presence of mind yet be in a bliss state, which I think the lay person, which includes me, would associate with being disassociated from reality.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a drug state.
Yeah.
Then it's usually disconnected. Well, what I imagine is disconnected from the pain and the awareness of what's going on around you.
Yeah.
So this bliss state that you're talking about, even through feeling excruciating pain, you can also have an awareness of other people's responses and emotions and potential fallout from so that's a very all-encompassing awake state yet in bliss.
Yes.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. It almost doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah. There's some things that I guess the way I see it now is because I've been in a bliss state for so long, everything becomes quite manageable.
Are you in one now?
Yeah.
Oh.
So think of it a little bit like if you drank one too many coffees and you're feeling charged.
There's a tipping point though
Yes.
There's a tipping point where it's not charged anymore. It's just jitters.
Right. It's just jitters. Yeah. So, not talking about jitters. It's more that it's very manageable. Yeah, so you can maintain, a level of bliss, yet still be quite functional. But I have been doing it for many years now. I've been doing it for about 5 years. So I've gotten pretty used to, finding my way around it. At the start, there would be plenty of times where I'd pick up an instrument and then I'd just put it down because it would be like, I'm too clumsy to do much with it. And then when you experience more of it, then after a while you can manage things. Yeah, you can manage things. But you could go and get even stronger, blissful experiences and then, get to a point where you can't really do much other than just, sit on the ground.
What is that good for? I'm talking practically because most of us have to live an everyday experience. What the heck do you do with a very charged prolonged bliss state, when you have to keep the wheels of life turning.
Yeah.
What is that for? Is it kind of a retreat?
Yeah.
For a bit?
Yes. Yeah. You do have to retreat for a bit. Yeah, you might retreat for a year or 9 months, maybe 2 years.
Oh, who can afford that? Jeez.
Yeah. But, it'd probably come down to the individual as to, where they are and what they're doing in their life.
Can I ask, after you've indulged, for lack of a better term, in a prolonged bliss state.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get to the purpose of it.
Yeah.
After you come out of it, or you decide that's enough and I now need to stop.
Yeah.
How are things changed? Is it for change? Is it just for the experience?
Yeah.
Can you not be changed by that and then just go back to a pedestrian way of life? I don't...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what happened with you? Let's talk about what happened with you. So you're in a prolonged bliss state for months.
Yeah.
You've come out the other side of it.
Yeah.
Life's still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not on the mountain with the snowstorm. You're not that person.
Yeah, life's still going.
Yeah. What then?
Well, I mean, for me, it was to have these states and to live in this state. Simply to not share it seems... well, it'd be a bit like this. If you see everyone else around you starving and you've got bags of wheat that you could share, to hide them away doesn't seem like the right thing to do. Yeah. So
that's where your bliss state took you to, came out the other side of it. You're a rich man.
Yes.
Time to share.
Yeah.
Got it.
And, for a long time, I would look at, the spiritual thing and go, I'm not so sure. I'd be very skeptical.
There is just so much misleading information. I understand that.
But then having a prolonged experience, if I only had a single experience, half an hour of bliss, I'd be like, oh yeah, that was a weird experience. And maybe I'd pass it off as, I must have ingested something that was wrong. I accidentally ate some mouldy bread or something, and I got a bit poisoned. And it was just a nice poison rather than a, throw my guts up type of poison. But when it's every day, never ending. Yeah. I had a friend one time said, have you checked out to see if you're mentally well? And that's an interesting thought, because I feel way better than what I used to. So if anything, I've become even more well. I haven't gotten sicker. I've become much better. So I think to someone who's not experiencing it, it's probably a natural thing to look at someone like me and go, I'm not so sure about you. You don't seem like everyone else. When I complain about the weather, most people agree. But when I complain about the weather to you, you seem to be even uninterested in engaging in the subject. So, which can be really annoying to some people. I totally get that. Yeah. So,
Can we go back to acceptance?
Yeah.
When is it right to accept a really bad situation? And when is it more appropriate to put up resistance to the bad situation? Or is that the wrong question?
No, it's a good question.
Well, it's a
good question.
It's a question I really want to know the answer to, but
Yeah.
maybe it's even the wrong question. Maybe if you're in a state of bliss, or you've got that higher awareness, or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
that acceptance is always there.
Yeah.
And that you can resist at the same time as accepting, because you're deeply within a knowing that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So you accept.
Yes.
Accept its shittiness, excuse my language.
Yeah.
Because you deeply know everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And you can resist as well. Anyway, look, I'm not letting you answer the question. So what's your take on just accepting everything, knowing this is going to turn out really badly, as you explained earlier, and it's not going to go well for me, but I'm still just not going to resist?
Yeah.
And when is the time where you resist?
That you resist. Yeah. Okay, so to answer that question, you could think of it like having a to-do list.
I can relate to that.
Yep.
I got plenty of them.
So on the first list, you should write all the things that you could do right this second, right? If something comes up and you can do something about it right this second, you should 100% make that your focus. If there is something that you would like to change, but there's nothing that you can do about changing it directly now, then write it on a second list and make a day or a time when that activity can be done. Yeah. So, for example, if you've got to take the bins out on Wednesday night, well, putting the bins out now is no good because it's Friday. Just write it on the calendar, and when Wednesday comes around, put them out. Now, if there's something that you can't stop, for example, one day we're all going to die. That's not me being dark, that's just a reality. There is nothing you can do about that. Absolutely nothing. Sure, you could probably look at some advanced technology, maybe try and download your consciousness into a computer or things like that. Or try and preserve your body, through, cold immersion or whatever it is. And you could do all of that, but you'll have to accept that one day you're going to die. Having that as a worry is ridiculous. You should definitely throw list number 3 in the bin. Totally. And the list that you should be really spending your entire focus on is list number 1. Everything that you can do to change your situation in the now, you should do that right now. So, for example, if you're thirsty, don't wait till tomorrow. Do it right now. If you need to go to the bathroom and you can't wait, you should go and do that right now. If you can't, you need to look for a bathroom. If someone is having a heart attack in front of you, do your best to save them. But also accept that if your skill is not up to the task and they pass away, don't beat yourself up. Maybe that person's time has come. So sometimes I say to my students, hey, if I'm about to die of a heart attack, please call an ambulance. But if I die while we're waiting, great. Don't worry about it. It was meant to be. So either way, you don't have something that you really need to worry about. Yeah?
I was watching a podcast yesterday, Diary of a CEO, interviewing Dr. K. There was a section where he talked about, how did he put it, responding as opposed to resisting. And I think we're actually talking about something very similar. So responding was, I think the example that he gave was, if two people are trying to get through a door together, you can see somebody needs to get through that door, you can open the door and say, come on through. You know, that's a response to an action, a flow. And you're just responding to the situation. And there is an acceptance and an ease in responding.
Yeah.
And then reaction is a different thing. There's a different dynamic and different energy behind it. And I think that's similar to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Also liken it to another podcast. You can tell I YouTube a lot. A minimalist by the name of Joshua Becker.
Yep.
And he talks about what you've just spoken about, but in relation to tidying and decluttering.
Yeah.
So he says, if there's a 1 minute rule, if there's something that you can clean up in 1 minute, just clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've undressed it, clothes are on the floor, and it only takes you 60 seconds or less to pick them up and put them in the clothes hamper, just do it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to delay that, and it's going to make your room tidier immediately, and it's within your power to execute that task. But then there are other tasks like this second to-do list that you're talking about, where it needs a compartmentalized time. It has to be put in its right place. And it might be, for example, mowing the lawn.
Yep.
No, it's not appropriate to do that at 8 o'clock at night on a weekday. But Saturday morning, when the sun is shining, is the right time to do it.
Yeah.
And you can park it.
Yeah.
This aids not just a tidy environment, but a tidy mind.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're talking about mental health here and to-do lists and how to know which one is which and its relative importance.
Yes, that's right.
How to categorize things.
Yeah.
So we're talking about acceptance and resistance and knowing the difference of situations in terms of where to apply them.
Yeah.
Control what you can.
Yes.
Let go of the things that you got no control over.
That's right.
And accept.
Yes.
There's a lot of grace in accepting.
Yeah.
A lot of grace. And what I mean by grace is that ease.
Yeah.
Yeah. That ease. That's a grace.
Yeah.
It's a higher level thing.
Yeah.
To just totally let go, but also knowing everything will be okay. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
The essence of me will still be okay.
Yes.
Even if everything else goes to shit.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. At least probably what I see now is that a lot of people have a background fear of dying, and change can be associated with dying.
I think that's actually the scary thing for human beings. I've thought about this a lot. I think change for adults is a much, much scarier concept than dying. But because dying is considered the biggest change, it is the biggest transformation that we will do in our lifetime. That's why it's so scary.
Yeah.
Ask a child, though, if they have the vocabulary and the wherewithal to know what's really scary, and death doesn't scare a kid.
Yeah.
You know what scares a kid?
No, actually.
A kid's not scared of death. I was a kid. I remember
Yeah.
acutely what it was like to be a kid. I could climb a tree.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll climb
Yeah.
the tree. I would climb up on the roof of my house.
Yeah.
Through a fence, and I'd just climb up on the fence, and then I'd navigate the guttering and then the tiles, and I'd just sit up on the roof for hours, and hours.
Yeah.
Was peaceful. I wasn't scared of falling off. I didn't care.
Yeah.
The concept of death didn't
Yeah.
occur to me at all.
Yeah.
No, death is not scary for a kid. It's abandonment.
Yes. Yeah.
Grow up. You're not afraid of being abandoned to the same extent. It's this concept of drastic change.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Go on.
Something we were talking about off air.
Yeah.
It occurs to me why drastic change and this death state.
Yeah.
Not so much death, but per se, but the drastic is, as adults, we love to be in control.
Absolutely.
We love it.
Yeah.
We want to be in charge of our lives, and drastic change rips the carpet out from under us, and so does death.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, that's very good. That's very good. Yeah, control is probably the thing that makes most people the most sick, the most unhappy, or the most dis-ease. Yeah. When you've lost control, there's not much you can do.
Accept.
Yeah.
You've just got to accept.
That's right. Yeah, you have to accept. Yeah.
When I started this process, God, now it's 9 weeks ago?
Yeah.
8? 9?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
9 weeks. I was expecting to go through a Venturi where change would happen.
Yeah.
So I was anticipating and looking forward to change. So I don't know why it didn't scare me more.
Yeah.
Oh, I know why it didn't scare me
Yeah.
more. I know why it didn't scare me more. I know why it didn't scare me more.
Why?
Because this occurred to me during the week. Some of this process has been very uncomfortable. And
Sure.
I'm not having a great day today because of all the things that I've talked about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a hard year personally in a lot of ways. It's all stacked up on itself.
Yep.
But I was ready to go through the scary thing called adult change because the pain of not changing and transforming had become greater than the pain of staying in my state in life.
Yes.
One pain just trumped the other pain.
Yeah.
So it was time to get in that tunnel and see what was on the other side.
Yes. Yeah.
Hence sound bath number 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like you wanted to say something.
Well, to me, that's like in life, and I did this, you need to get to every dead end until you can admit defeat.
I am fascinated by your dead ends.
Yeah.
You've edited. I don't know what it didn't hear, but anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe a conversation for another time, maybe another podcast, but
Yeah.
I am really fascinated by your failure journey.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say so candidly, without any angst,
Yeah.
without anything negatively residual inside them. You candidly said to me, off air one day.
Yeah.
I've failed so many times. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
And I don't care. And now you're going to do something else.
Yeah.
It just water off a duck's back, but so fascinating.
Yeah.
To me.
Yep.
To see in someone that mode of, how do I express this? It's not even a mode of thinking. It's I don't know what it is. It's how does someone say, I've been down so many paths and failed every time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to affect you. It doesn't seem to have left any, there's no baggage that you're carrying with that.
No.
Or frustration, or sense of a loss of time or effort or money or productivity or life or ego or all the sorts of things that we usually associate negatively with going down paths that lead us to what you term, and I'm putting it in inverted commas, failure.
Yeah.
And then to be expressed almost with enthusiasm, I've failed so many times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was really fascinating to me, and I really like to one day hear about those failures and why you consider them, why it's even termed a failure rather than just, I explored this, didn't work out, I explored this, that didn't work out. But I guess it has a lot to do with what your expectation was of the outcome.
Yeah.
I think if I was going down a path simply for curiosity, then there's no failure in getting down a dead end. Just, okay, all right, that was a nice scenic, that was not the scenic route, that was just a dead end.
Just a dead end.
I got a bit of exercise, but that my expectation wasn't for a journey or the pot of gold at the end of this. But maybe you did with some of those things that you deem failures. Anyway, conversation for another day.
Well, maybe the next podcast.
Maybe. But this is the end of my journey. It's number 6. Yeah. I'm hoping to feel lighter at the end of this one. I really feel like I need it today.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go do it,
Yeah, let's do it. Do I get chai again?
Absolutely.
Cool, thank you. Yay. All right,
see you after. A sound bath is like a warm embrace for your senses, a wave of soothing sounds that washes over you, taking with it the weight of stress and tension. Picture yourself lying down in a peaceful space, bathed in the soft hum of Tibetan singing bowls, gongs, tuning forks, and chimes. These sounds don't just fill the air, they resonate deep within like gentle ripples through your entire being. Each vibration works its quiet magic, inviting your mind and body to release, let go, and find a natural flow of relaxation. It's a moment to simply be. No rush, no worries, just pure, unfiltered tranquility. A sound bath is all about stepping back, sinking in, and being present. Whether you need a deep reset after a long day or simply want a quiet moment for yourself, it's a beautiful way to recharge, reconnect, and rediscover that calm at the center of it all. So we are now post sound bath.
Number 6.
Number 6, final one.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That's all right. You can always come back for another anytime you wish.
Thank you.
Okay, so has there been much change from pre-sound bath to post?
Yeah. We were talking about acceptance.
Yeah.
Acceptance, I feel more accepting. I feel like I've rested into that.
Yeah.
And there's a mental acceptance and then there's a physical acceptance.
Yep. What's the difference? What are you experiencing?
Well, we were just talking about it before. We were just talking about it, and that's all articulated information from my head.
Yeah.
But to let it go in the body is a different thing.
Yes.
So that's what it feels like. It feels like I accepted... You know what It's been a sad year. I'm not feeling sorry for myself. And
No.
You know, first of all, problems and stuff happens, but there are people coming very close to the end of their lives and they're sick. And I love them.
Yeah.
And friendships that I thought would be around all my life that ended suddenly that I didn't expect. And a job I loved as well.
Yeah.
This is a lot of grief sort of compacted into... We were talking about accepting and just letting it go and letting the transformation occur.
Yeah.
And not resisting. So the sound bath, physically, I stopped resisting it all.
Yeah.
Which probably means I need to have a big cry at some point.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
you know when you're holding on to grief in your body, there is this push and pull. In the sound bath, I just got so relaxed.
Yeah.
And it's a really safe environment to be in. Those bowls today really sang to me. I don't know if you felt it, or maybe that's just one weird construct in my mind, but it really felt like today they all had a little personality and they'd all banded together to sing to me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Can I also say that while I haven't had a sound bath with anybody else, what transpires in me in form of healing, I do believe, is a lot to do with the safety that you provide.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I know you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I know you well enough to know that you're well studied in a deeper practice of far beyond the practice of a sound bath.
Yeah.
And that your heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
So as a practitioner, I know I'm with the right type of person to allow those bowls to do what they do with complete psychological safety. So that assisted just this letting go and accepting of a year of stacking grief upon grief upon grief. Yeah. So I'm at the end of 6 of them. I think when you let things just be and let go, it's a clearing out, a clearing space for whatever was meant to come next.
Correct.
I know I have a report card to do, so we'll see what pops up as the next thing now that space is clearing.
Yeah. And going forward, you know that you can do practices, whatever the practice is, to come back to this point. And it is possible to get to this point.
Oh, I really hope so. It doesn't feel so easy by myself. It really doesn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
With practice, it gets easier. Like with anything, you know, if you practice, you get better at it. Even if you're terrible at practicing. Like I was terrible at meditation for years. 4 years.
Well,
I'd just
what does
sit down.
terrible mean?
Well, I
how
guess-
can you do it badly?
Yeah. Well, I guess the way in which most people think about meditation being done badly is you just sit there and you think.
Oh no, I think that can do the opposite of what meditation is meant to do. That sounds like it's actually reinforcing.
Well, funny
and
enough.
training you onto the. Yeah. Sorry,
Not
go on.
necessarily. Because what happens is that even if you sit there and keep really still and just think, it will have the effect of, I can deeply relax to the point of where my body is asleep and I can watch my mind think away. Even if I think it's me who is thinking, even the process of relaxing your body to the point of where it falls asleep and you listen to the silly voice that goes on and on and on, that does the job.
Where is that off button for that thing that lives inside us that keeps chattering?
Yeah.
Isn't that bizarre to think we've got a body that can fall asleep,
Yeah,
but the mind will just keep going on its own?
that's right. Yeah.
That's bizarre, really, when we think about the separation of the two of them.
Well, when you're sleeping and you're dreaming, you can dream of nothing. Yeah, it's possible. You can dream of nothing. You can meditate in your sleep. Yeah. You can lie there and have your body go to sleep, but still remain somewhat conscious and not dream. It is possible. There's been many times where I've fallen asleep. My body has fallen asleep and I've heard myself snore. And I'm
How
like,
do you do that?
with practice.
What kind of practice?
For me, I discovered it accidentally. And that was one time I was meditating and I was getting really tired and I was about to fall asleep while I was sitting up, and I thought, I'm sitting outside, this is probably a little bit dangerous from where I'm sitting. And then I had the realization, but hang on, my awareness never gets tired. I mean, you never dream of tiredness, right? So there I was, my body was fast asleep, my mind was still active, but it was pretending that it was tired as well through habit. Yeah, because that's what happens. You might be sitting on the couch and you might be thinking, I'm getting really sleepy, and then your thoughts get all wobbly. Yeah, and you're thinking, my mind is getting tired. No, your mind is just doing its thing. You've been programming it since, day one about tiredness. Yeah. And so you naturally begin to feel tired, body feels tired, but your awareness never tired.
I just heard a beep.
I heard a beep as well.
Do you want to check on the beep?
Yeah, it looks okay. I'm going to swing back.
Okay.
I'll cut that out.
Yep.
So, yeah, you can get tired mentally and tired physically, but your awareness won't get tired. And so once I tapped into the idea, my awareness is never tired, I just simply woke up. Breathtakingly so. And at that stage I thought, this is totally amazing, I need to go and tell my wife what just happened. So I went and told Mon. She handed me a bowl of noodles. My consciousness fell out of my head through the bowl of noodles. I fell to the ground, but not my body. My body was still sitting upright, but my consciousness fell to the ground. So my consciousness was on the ground, but my body was still sitting up.
How do you know your consciousness was on the ground?
I could see it.
What does it look like?
Looked like the floor.
I'm not there yet.
It looked like
Did you pick it up? Did you bend up and pick it up?
Well, no, it snapped back into my body as quickly as it fell to the floor.
What does it look like?
Well,
is that a weird question?
Yeah, not necessarily. It probably looked like probably me blanking out for a second and then me looking totally stunned as to what just happened.
But So it's like a fainting,
It's
but
like
not
a
with
fainting.
your body?
Yeah, without my body.
Okay, this is trippy stuff.
Yeah. So from then on, I never got groggy when I got tired. Yeah. You know when you wake up after a sleep and you go, oh, I'm so sleepy. That didn't happen. I would wake up and I'd be like totally refreshed, as though I just shut my eyes and opened them. Yeah, sleeping state became no different to waking state. No
Even
different.
now.
Well, now I've fallen back into habit. So I do get tired, but when I wake up, it doesn't take long.
Is this the weird state that you hear of those stories of US soldiers that have been messed with and programmed to be awake all of the time, to be this optimum type of soldier where they're always awake?
Yes.
I remember watching a television program. It's all hypothetical, whether it's based on something that really happens or not, who knows. But he was programmed or changed in some way physiologically to never fall asleep.
Yeah.
So the person the other character was asking, well, how does that affect you? He says, well, I dream. I don't dream.
Yeah.
I don't sleep. I just lie there and I rest.
Yes.
But I don't dream. So my body rests, but I'm always aware. I'm always awake.
Yes.
And that sounded really good, but I think it's actually different from what you're talking about, because he had, and it's all just make-believe because it was a television show.
Yeah.
He said, I never really access my subconscious and all that creativity and that deep psychological restfulness was lost to him because he'd been disconnected.
Right.
And he missed that.
Right.
But he was always aware and awake, even when his body was rested. But I think it's something not quite what you're speaking of, because it sounds like what you're talking about has a very deeply restful component in there.
Yes.
Yeah?
Very deeply restful. Yeah. So I'll find that I can do like you'd call a power nap.
Yeah.
For 1 minute. 1 minute. So I'll lie down, I'll shut my eyes. Sometimes I get really overwhelmingly tired and I'd go, okay, I need to lie down for a moment. I'll lie down. I'll lie for a moment, shut my eyes, just do a body scan, and then bang, I'm okay. So it's like you're giving yourself like really intensive deep rest. You're just totally letting go. And sometimes I think, like you can do it sitting up as well. You can do it standing. You need to do it in a safe environment. But easier to do it lying down. And it's just this letting go of tension. Rapid letting go of tension. Because when you're getting tired, you're simply resisting something. There's something that you're resisting.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And you're holding this tension. And then once you let go of the tension, let go of the resistance, you accept. Do a big sigh. And then you feel much better.
Well, that resonates with the start and the finish of this process for me, is maybe why I've been exhausted all year, and I'm really came into this day really, really exhausted, is maybe it's just this resistance. It's grief, resistance of everything just getting pulled out from under me.
Yeah.
But in this session, it helped physically to let it all go. Those bowls, it still fascinates me that bowls can have such an effect. It defies
They're very good bowls.
logic.
They're not like your, porcelain or,
must be that vibration just vibration can have such a big physiological and psychological effect on me.
Yeah. Well, we are just sound.
Aren't we light?
Well, yeah, but sound and light are the same thing.
Huh?
Yeah. Maybe something for another podcast.
A different podcast, yeah. We're getting into too many concepts. But interestingly, in terms of how I'm feeling, it is much easier to process information and to hear you and respond very quickly compared to 1, 2 and 3, where I was in such bliss land that I was struggling to pull myself back into this world and respond to you. Whereas now I get the concept, I'm just not there yet. Yep, another podcast, but it's not hard. You can tell also that I'm speaking faster than I was in the first. It was like, oh, don't let me talk.
Yeah,
different experience.
Yeah. At least from what I experience is that, or maybe to understand what it is that you might be experiencing, is that we've simply given you a top up of energy and cleared the blockages. So we're getting the stuff out of the way that you're resisting. And so this is not so much of an adding of thing, you're just removing.
Yeah, it's the big declutter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's big declutter. Yeah.
Without me making any effort.
Yep.
That's the thing about these sound bars. No effort.
Yeah, no effort.
Input from me.
Yeah.
Fly there and it gets taken care of.
Yeah. It's
honestly extraordinary.
Yeah. It's great.
Such a cheating way of getting into a meditative existence and getting all the benefits of it.
That's it.
It doesn't seem fair. It really doesn't. Because I've been programmed, as most of us have been programmed, to think if you put in this effort, you're going to get this out.
That's right. No pain, no gain.
That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, if you got pain, that's what you got. Pain. Yeah. I'm not sure what you're gaining from pain. Unless you stop the pain and then you'll feel so much better because you're not experiencing pain anymore.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what kind of situation, you're just going to come out better with no effort.
Yeah.
Is it effort for you?
Not much. Yeah, not much effort. I mean, I get to walk around you lying down playing some bowls. It's not a lot of effort.
It doesn't seem fair. Like, who's making the effort to have such a beautiful result?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be putting in the hard work.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any of that.
Yeah. It's great.
I don't get it. My poor little programmed mind cannot unravel that one.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Some things can be easy.
Yes, very easy.
Some things really, that's a takeaway for me, that you can have a beautiful result, a rich, worthwhile result as a gift.
Yes. Yeah.
No effort.
No effort.
No pain.
Yeah.
It's just given.
Yeah. 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 When I think of the last 30 years of doing meditation, that's produced the same result. But you can get there a lot quicker.
Definitely with a sound bath.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get there a lot quicker.
Yeah, it is definitely a shortcut.
Yeah.
100%.
And the only thing that I find disheartening is when someone goes, I don't have time for that. Or they say, I'm afraid it's going to bring up all this stuff. I'm like, okay, well, it looks like you're going to have to keep going the hard way.
Do you know how many people I have offered this to? I've suggested to them, knowing that they're suffering, knowing that they're going through so much worse mental anguish than I am.
Yeah.
More stuck than I was at week 1.
Yeah.
And there's excuse after excuse.
Yeah.
I have enough time.
Yeah.
Well, when are you going to make time to get well?
Yeah. And how do you think being in pain and suffering is going to make time for you?
Yeah.
Are you going to just do one more week of pain and suffering and then somehow you get a magical week after that of time off? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. The only thing that I can put it down to is they're not ready.
No, not ready.
Change. And
Yeah.
I was so chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
So me to be released of whatever it is that was dragging my legs through mud.
Yeah.
In terms of progress.
Yeah.
Inner progress.
Yeah.
Outer progress. I wanted that Venturi. So when this was offered, yay!
Yeah.
If it's going to be uncomfortable, bring it on.
Yeah.
Let it get uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as there's less pain on the other side.
That's it.
Yeah?
Whereas
these people I've offered it to are just like, I don't want you to have to go to bed with a fever and be overloaded and
Yeah.
you're not getting anywhere. They're just
Yeah.
too much effort to text you.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It just is what it is. Sometimes people aren't ready as well.
I know.
Yeah. And the sarcastic joke in it is that, okay, well, if you're not ready to give up suffering, you need to suffer a bit more then. It's the unfortunate thing, yeah, which I really don't think is a good idea. However, it is what it is. Someone feels they need to do that, well, I won't stand in the road. But I'll be here when they get out of their own road and they want to come for a sound bath. Yeah.
It's easier than talk therapy because you don't have to...
Yeah, you don't have to relive.
All that stuff coming up. It's 40 minutes?
45 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour, depending. Yeah.
For your listeners, stuff did come up for me.
Yeah.
But it gets dealt with so gently.
Yeah.
Swims away.
Yeah.
Coasts away, floats away, melts away, wafts away.
Yeah.
So effortlessly that there isn't anything I need to process. That the emotional chemicals get produced in emotion, right?
Yeah.
That comes up for what? You might have 120 seconds of that.
Yeah.
Some thoughts will come through, some pictures will come through that might be a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or very uncomfortable, but it just gets dissolved so quickly in these places. There's no need to relive it. There's no need to talk about it. There's no need to fear that it's so short-lived.
Yeah. Yeah. We want it to be dissolved. We don't want you to keep reliving it.
It does. This is such a different therapy to talk therapy or any kind of reliving therapy, and even if it's just a reliving in yourself, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost too easy.
Yeah. Thank you. No worries. Thanks, Shell.
This very interesting journey. And when I do my report card, I'll let you know the accumulative outcome.
Great. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Shell. It's been a wonderful adventure. And I look forward to getting this report card from you.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Thanks, Shell.
Thank you, Matt.
Cheers. Thank you for joining us today. This has been a fascinating exploration of sound baths. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment. Join us again next week as our latest sound bath participant, Trish, continues her journey with her third of 6 consecutive sound baths. Until next time, stay well and keep exploring new experiences.